right, everyone. I am back with a very special guest who you might recognize from our show last week with Jeffrey Kipple and Mindy Blackstein. She is Dr. Shelley Persad, and welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for being here again.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for having me back on. It's such a pleasure.
So I want to dive into a little bit more about your work this time, rather than, obviously, we focused a little bit more on sort of the Rethink Fit aspect of things, which obviously all of your work ties into, but, you know, get into a little bit more about what it is sort of that you specialize in and your area of expertise. So can you just give us a little bit more, for people who aren't familiar with your work, what that looks like?
Yes, absolutely. So I am a female sexual empowerment coach and tantra teacher, author, chiropractor. A lot of people question how I went from a chiropractor to a sexual empowerment coach, and a medicine woman. I work with a lot of different plant medicines, and I do ceremonies and retreats. So it's actually a long story. I'll shorten it, but it was actually through chiropractic that led me on this journey of becoming a sexual empowerment coach and tantra teacher, because I had this amazing Kundalini, life force, sexual energy, call it, awakening. Journey exploring of more. I wasn't somebody who wanted to just settle for less. And I'm not speaking bad about the chiropractic profession, because I am a chiropractor, but I didn't want to be just a 3-minute snap, crackle, pop chiropractor. I knew there was more. So I actually just kept searching until I found a technique that resonated with me, and it was more of an energetic technique. And the founder of that technique, she actually recommended to all of us to not make it a cookie cutter technique, because in a lot of alternative healing methods, it's very do this, do that. It's very cookie cutter. So she was the only one who was like, the possibilities are infinite. Go explore Tantra, Kundalini, breath work, any ancient theory, culture, Chinese medicine, anything from the East, she recommended. And that's exactly what I did. And that just opened up the doors to where I'm at today.
Wow, there's so much to unpack here, and I have so many questions. So do you still practice, how would you say, chiropractic? Is that right? Yeah?
Chiropractic, you can just say it that way.
Are you still a practicing chiropractor? How about that?
No, thanks to COVID, actually. COVID forced me to really reevaluate, do I still want a physical office? Because prior to COVID, I did have an office, but I had other chiropractors, acupuncturists working for me. So when it came to that question, 3 months I closed, it was like, do I reopen? And those 3 months when I was closed, it really allowed me to devote my time to my coaching practice, which is what I love. And I really felt that my physical practice was a blockage. It was preventing me from devoting time to my real passion, which is this. So I did hand it over to my associate chiropractor. So he has fully taken it over, and he is running the office for me.
Wow. So this has almost been, you know, a blessing in disguise. Like, it really gave you sort of the push that you needed to move into this stuff that really excites you and that you're passionate about. So are you working primarily with individuals or couples? What does your coaching work sort of look like?
I primarily work with individuals. I do have a lot of couples, but I have to work with them individually so that they can open up and be vulnerable, because together they can open up and share their deepest, darkest traumas or wounds in front of one another, because usually they're the cause of them in the relationship. So I mostly work with women, although I do have a section on my website for men. And my reason for that is that the feminine energy in relationships, which is usually the female, the woman, she's the guiding light. When she changes, the male just kind of follows along. And what I'm seeing is that men are waiting for women to wake up. Men know there's more possible, but they're waiting for their woman to guide them, to show them, to awaken them, to teach them what else is possible. So my passion personally is working with women to awaken them to what is possible, so then they can awaken their partner.
For someone who may have thought about, you know, doing some of this work, What can you explain a little bit about sort of like what it would look like to work with you? How much of it is sort of talking and like what we traditionally think of as therapy versus some of the other things that you've mentioned, such as like plant medicine? What does that look like? And what might you do with a new client or someone looking to work with you?
So I have absolutely. And sorry if my internet is cutting out. I did miss half of that question, but I got the last part. So basically, there's a couple different ways people can work with me. I offer a lot of free guided meditations, ebooks, guides on my website for people to just get introduced to me and my work and to just start practicing awakening their sexual energy through my guided meditations. I do one-on-one coaching sessions over Zoom. So there's a couple different levels to that. Basic soul healing session. I do soul retrieval because oftentimes any aspect of our life that has been a traumatic experience, and that could be something as simple as a breakup or a painful sexual experience, not necessarily sexual abuse, it causes a part of our soul to basically detach from us to avoid the intensity of the pain. So I do a soul retrieval session to help people reclaim all lost parts of their souls. And then we do on Zoom, I can do conscious cannabis journeys, which I basically lead you through the rituals of how to use and consume cannabis spiritually, ceremonially, because a lot of people use it to check out, but when used the right way, you can actually use it to check in and to go within and do a guided meditative healing transformative journey. So I offer all of these sessions for men and women. And then I have online academies where people can just purchase the academy and work through all of the different levels and modules at their own pace from the comfort of their own home. And then all the way to in-person work where I offer plant medicine ceremonies and retreats here where I live in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
That's incredible. I mean, I also think it's very timely with, I think 5 states legalizing cannabis last night, something like that. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So it's definitely timely, and you know, it sounds like really interesting and incredible work that you're doing. What sort of led you to transitioning? I know you had sort of mentioned a little in brief, sort of what made you transfer from this chiropractic sort of practice into this more specific type of work. But is there something about your own experience or your personal life or a reason that you've been drawn to this work?
Absolutely. And it actually connects to Jeff and Mindy with Rethink Fit. I competed in bodybuilding way back in the day while I was in chiropractic school because I had this addiction to having this perfect body with six-pack abs. I started working out at the age of 13, and my ultimate goal was, again, to push my limits to see what else is possible. So I started training, doing fitness competitions, bodybuilding, and it was through that I realized this isn't working for me. This constant need to be perfect and living in the gym and doing things the masculine way. When I started discovering this more energetic chiropractic approach, it really put me in touch with my feminine side. So that is when I really started balancing my masculine and feminine energies within me. And I was having these full body orgasms, so to say, on the chiropractic adjustment table. And when I started piecing the puzzles of my own life together, I realized, but I can't have that with a partner. But I can have it in a healing session where I'm laughing, I'm crying, my body is awake and moving, but I'm in the middle of a seminar room with 200 people. So I'm like, wait a second, fully clothed on a table, deep healing. The chiropractors were able to tap into deep wounds within me. And that led to me becoming a facilitator for a huge consciousness organization, and they did energetic work as well. And it facilitated the same response in my body. And I was so drawn to that type of work that I started teaching classes. I became a worldwide facilitator for them. And in all of my classes, 99% of the participants were women. And what I discovered is that no matter what problem they were struggling with, from hating their body, low self-esteem, relationship issues, financial struggles, not knowing what their purpose or passion is in life, really what they were looking for is this energy that lives inside of them, this sexual energy, this kundalini energy, life force, prana. There's so many different names depending on the philosophy or culture that you're in. And when women tap into that, it literally is if like everything in their life just works out as if by magic. They tap into who they really are. They start connecting to their intuition, and they just start knowing how to solve the problems in their life. They don't feel that something is missing anymore because they've reclaimed themselves. And that's kind of tying into my Take Your Power Back challenge, where we've given our power to so many things externally, thinking that that's real, or that's true, or that's going to make me happy. If I just, make this amount of money, then I'll be happy. Then I'll know my purpose. If I just have this perfect body, then I'll be happy. And that was my own journey, realizing even when I had the perfect body, I still wasn't happy. So I knew something else there was missing.
Wow. And a great segue into the Take Your Power Back challenge, which, we will explore Dr. Shelley's page a little bit more on Sue later on in this segment. And I'll make sure to highlight some of the examples that she's given for the Take Your Power Back challenge. And we can dive into that a bit more. First, though, I want to know a couple of things. I feel like, in our society, there's definitely been, at least for me, I'll just speak for myself, I hear like the word tantra, or like we talk openly right now about like sex, and I like want to blush. Like, what can you talk to anyone maybe like that would relate to me that's watching this right now and listening, and that might be curious? Are there any things that you can sort of destigmatize here, or also like little things that we might be able to do at home to explore if this is something that we would want to do more with someone like yourself?
Absolutely. And that's such a good point that you bring up, that even the word tantra has been associated with sex. And if we look at why that makes us blush, it's so normal because sex has become one of the most taboo topics. Most couples can't even talk about sex. I've worked with people who can't even say the word vagina, so it's so taboo that it causes us to just freeze up, which then contributes to a lot of these issues we have in our relationships and just our everyday lives because we're not present. And Tantra is all about being present. It's about enjoying every moment, feeling pleasure from everything, not just sexual pleasure, but we get so hung up on sexual pleasure. So a quick exercise that I would love to share that everybody can do at home is just grab a bottle or a glass of water right now, take a drink like you typically do, and then come back to this practice that I'm going to share, where you can close your eyes and just bring all of your consciousness, all of your awareness into the inside of your mouth. And really be inside of your mouth. What does it look like inside of your mouth? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? What does it sound like? And what does it feel like? So go through those 5 senses. So you're bringing all of your presence inside of your mouth. You're going through the 5 senses. You can envision your mind's eye is in there and you're looking around, and you can move your tongue and feel your tongue touch your gums or the roof of your mouth or your teeth. Like, what does it feel like? What's going on inside of your mouth? And then take a sip of water, hold that water inside of your mouth for 10 seconds, go through the same 5 senses. What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it sound like? And what does it feel like? And notice the difference. Notice how much more presence, notice how much different it tastes because you're actually being with the water. You're not just unconsciously on automatic pilot mode drinking water because you're busy and go, go, go and do, which is how we live our lives. So if we can just slow down and become present with water, with our children, with money, with our partner. Now imagine adding that practice into your sex life. That's Tantra. So Tantra isn't always about sex but due to the sexual repression, Tantra has become associated with sex because of Tantra sex, but it's really all about becoming present and approaching sex. Because how we do sex is the very masculine way. It's the wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. So many people are unhappy with how we do sex, but we're all really looking to just slow down. And it's not just in sex, but in all areas of our life. So we can enjoy the sunset, so we can enjoy a warm bath, so we can actually enjoy our meditation. That's why everybody meditates. We're trying to quiet the thoughts in our mind. But even in meditation, we're still thinking, oh, I need to count my breaths. I need to do this. Like, there's still that thinking component. And we're not totally present, even in meditation.
I'm definitely not totally present in my meditation. I mean, I know for me, it's a practice like anything else. And some days my mind starts to wander to what I'm going to make for dinner or what I have to do that day. And one of the things that I've been taught is not to yell at myself when that happens, but to treat my mind sort of like a puppy and sort of just gently coax it back to the breath. And so, I think that being present, practicing mindfulness is something that every single person can practice, benefit from, just that little experience, that little exercise that we just did. I realized I'm like, I haven't ever taken I don't know if I've ever taken a moment, aside from maybe when I tasted something that gave me that like umami quality, and really was, or maybe even like something very citrusy where you pucker and then you're like, oh wait, what is that? But why not recreate that moment more often? Why not? Yeah, instead of, I always joke to my partner, that I am sort of like, I can't just like sit down and eat a meal in my apartment these days. Like, I'm constantly on the go. So I'll like hunch over the sink and shovel food down my throat, like, or eat a bar while I'm walking around, instead of just like taking that moment for myself and really experiencing where I am right then and there. So, I mean, obviously this exercise that you just did with us is one that you can do with someone, sort of remotely over Zoom, but I wonder, how has your practice been affected by the pandemic? Like, have you had to modify things that you're usually able to do with someone in person? You talked about this incredible experience of you in front of 200 others with, on the chiropractic table, this full body experience that you had. Like, are you able to recreate that for someone through a screen?
Well, most of my work is online, but with the plant medicine ceremonies, that has actually increased since COVID. I've had, just in the last few months, six retreats, but 12 clients in total, because a few clients were here locally. So honestly, I've been busier since COVID than before COVID. So it really it depends, because even through a screen, I can still guide people through different exercises. And unfortunately, a lot of my work is just reprogramming the subconscious beliefs that we have to go. And we're so connected to that masculine way of doing things that we have to tap back into the feminine. We have to tap back into the slowness, the nurturing, self-love, slowing down. And when I say feminine, I'm not referring to women, because every man and woman has that yin and yang, that masculine and feminine energy within them. But again, in society, we're taught the masculine is more valuable, more productive, more successful, more this, more that. You have to be in your masculine if you're going to make money. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So we're literally living in our masculine, and that's why we're seeing so much destruction, so much unhappiness, so much depression, so many people just needing to check out. And tapping in and tuning into our feminine and creating that sacred balance, that sacred union, truly is like, people are like, oh my God, wow, I didn't know that I could make money by being in my feminine, by slowing down, by not being addicted to the do and the go.
I've worked a little with a therapist actually on some similar things. And, some of just so that I think it's helpful to give some concrete examples for anyone watching, some of the things that I've had to do sort of to tap into that feminine energy which is so interesting, by the way, because I am a creative person, but being that, which is a very feminine sort of energy. But then when I get into the work mode and I'm driven and, and that is like where I can very easily go, and that's the masculine energy, it's much harder for me to be creative and access that creative stuff. So I remember she had me do things like movement, like just like dance with my partner, dance with myself in my room. What else did I have to do? Play pretend, there were just so many different sort of like creative things and movement oriented things that I started to do to be able to sort of, again, tap back into that feminine energy, which again, for me, it's like accessing that creative side of me, the fluid, more explorative, forgiving sort of part of me that isn't so results oriented. It's more about the process. And so, yeah, I mean, it's been very important work that I've kind of stepped back from as this pandemic has happened, but now I'm feeling re-inspired to get back into some of it. When you were transitioning into this sort of work that you're doing now, how did you go about educating yourself for that? Like, were there I don't feel like this type of work is so common. I know it's sort of just becoming, again, sort of something that people are talking about and seeking and studying, but how did you educate yourself to sort of where you are right now? Sorry, did you lose me?
Just for a second, but I heard the majority of your question.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I actually studied all of this way back in the day, right when I was still in chiropractic school. I was a seminar junkie. So from that one technique, like I said, I was introduced to another consciousness organization, which was not associated with chiropractic. It was more life empowerment courses, giving people the step-by-step how to change your life. And this was back in 2005, 6, so 15 years ago. So I did all of my courses and workshops back then. I also got certified as a coach. I went to multiple Tantra workshops, retreats. So all of that has always been there, but it was really through just my own exploration. It wasn't until I met my husband that I was actually able to take that energy that I'm able to have in a healing session and have it with a partner. So I met my husband in 2011, and I didn't have a chiropractic office from 2011 until about 2015 when we moved to Mexico. So during that time, I was really focusing on my coaching, doing classes, traveling all over the US and Canada for workshops for women. So I tapped into a lot of light bulb moments, piecing different puzzles together. So a lot of my work that I do today is kind of a blend of everything I've studied, and then it's like my own techniques that I've created. And then with the help of plant medicine, just connecting, in a plant medicine ceremony, I just get downloads of new techniques and new wisdom. And, take this one technique that you've been doing and now do it a little bit differently, and you'll get the results. So it's been a work in progress over the last 15 years.
Wow. Well, I want to take a look at some of what you've been posting to Sue, and also really hone in on the Take Your Power Back challenge, because I just feel it's a great way for people to start to explore some of this work that we're talking about. And so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Dr. Shelley. back with Dr. Shelly Prasad. She's at Dr. Shelly on Sue. And I wanted to just take a look at some of these incredible posts that you're sort of using to inspire other people to participate in our newest challenge from the Rethink Fit segment. So basically, Dr. Shelly came on the show last week, and she sort of challenged all of us to look at things that we've handed over our power to, whether it be work or partner or politics, maybe the pandemic, anything in your life that you need to reclaim your power from and sort of take back that energy and reharness it. And so I realized that this may sound a little bit abstract, so I thought it would be great to sort of dive into some of the specific posts that Dr. Shelly has been sharing with us to sort of, you know, get you guys involved and give you some ideas as to how you could take your power back specifically. So I'm starting at the top of your feed simply so that people can find your profile, but we'll work our way back because Dr. Shelly has been doing this the last couple of days. So we're starting actually with day 5 here. So this was an example of the fact that we give our power to our subconscious mind. So talk me through a little bit about what that means rather than me just reading your post. What does it mean to give our power to our subconscious mind?
So all of the programming belief systems, kind of what we were talking about the masculine, we live in our masculine and we are taught that you have to go and do to be successful, to be productive. Those are belief systems that we were taught, that we wired into our subconscious mind, that we're not always aware of in the present moment because our subconscious mind, it's always running in the background. That's the automatic pilot. And it's the subconscious mind that is comfortable with the belief systems, with the limitations, with the fear. Our conscious mind is the one that wants to change, but unfortunately, we're trying to fight the subconscious mind, which is the majority. It's 95% of our mind. It's 95% active all the time. So it feels hard to change. It feels hard to break those patterns, those programs, those belief systems, because we have to fight the subconscious mind, which is in the background. So we give our power to it. So we just have to take our power back by being willing to look at it and go, no, you don't win. I know you like being comfortable with the programming and the limitations, but I'm going to like being uncomfortable because we have to step outside of our comfort zone in order to change them. But oftentimes stepping outside of our comfort zone, it's scary because it's unknown. We have to do things we've never done before. So that holds us back.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, you know, old patterns of behavior, fears, anxieties, things that we so quickly fall back into, again, probably from events that have shaped our lives. But we don't have to let that rule us. So it's as simple as, like you said, sort of identifying it, acknowledging it, reminding yourself that it doesn't always have to be that way, and that, you know, you have the opportunity to take on a new experience a moment at a time, and you don't have to succumb to sort of the way it went the last time or before. You know, we're always able to have a new experience. Then we're going to move into your example for day 4, which had to do with sort of eating and food and your eating disorder. And I thank you so much for your vulnerability on this platform. It's really beautiful. So talk me through a little bit more about what inspired this particular Take Back Your Challenge post.
Yeah, I work with a lot of women who give power to food. So anytime their emotions get the best of them, so we give our power to our emotions, we allow them to control us, we then give our power to food. We think food is going to be the answer or the solution that's going to make us feel better. So if we're sad, if we're depressed, if we've had a breakup, we resort to food, thinking that's going to make us feel better, when really it doesn't. And that was the post before this one. We'll get into it, but it was driven by that need to be perfect all the time. And I would get down, like post competition, anybody who's competed in fitness or bodybuilding, the moment you don't have that 6-pack, it's like, oh no, you know, your low self-esteem kicks in, you start getting depressed. I need to be in the gym. So anytime you divert from your diet or you eat something that you have a belief system that is going to cause you to gain weight or that's unhealthy, you get down, you're depressed. depressed, you're sad, your emotions are all over the place. And I would literally give in to food. I would binge eat thinking that was the answer. And then I go back to the gym and work off those calories. So it was just such a vicious cycle where I just kept giving my power away instead of really going within and going, why am I not happy? Why am I needing to be perfect all the time? And that's how I took my power back. I totally redesigned my relationship with my food. I stepped outside my comfort zone. I got uncomfortable. I literally muscle tested, questioned my body for everything I put into my mouth for 6 months to break the pattern of binge eating.
Wow. And that really does lead us to your day 3, which I'll end with because I want you guys I want to leave a little to your imagination so that you have an incentive to go check out some more of Dr. Shelley's page. So I'm not going to reveal day 2 and day 1 of the challenge. So we'll finish off with, again, she said the food was sort of something that catapulted because of the perfectionism. So talk to me. I mean, I certainly struggle with perfectionism. This is something, the control, the being tied to an outcome. And, you know, I definitely relate to this in so many ways. But how did you take your power back from perfectionism? Or how do you take your power back from perfectionism?
Yes, I'm still battling the perfectionist tendencies. I'm currently writing my book, and I notice I get caught up spending so many hours just trying to find the right words or the right flow. And I literally just have to catch myself in the moment. As Jeff said the other day in our Rethink Fit episode, awareness is the first step. So just being aware that, oh my God, I'm trying to control this by being perfect, that awareness alone is taking my power back. It's shifting the direction. So I view it as a Y in the road. I can either go down the pathway to the right, which is the same old pathway of giving my power away to perfection all the time, which costs me so much time, effort, energy, control in my mind. I mean, it just zaps you of everything because you're so addicted to it's got to be perfect. Having that awareness allows you to backtrack and go, you know what, this doesn't work for me. I'm taking my power back. And you go down the pathway to the left, which is unpaved, unknown, scary, dark, dirty. You literally have to like clean the pathway yourself. So you have to pave that pathway yourself, which yes, requires work. It requires time. It requires energy, but it's worth it. So this isn't like a one-time take your power back. Like I said, I have been taking my power back from this perfectionism. I'm a Virgo. For years, like literally years. So we're never perfect. This concept of perfectionism doesn't exist. Like one day I'll be like, okay, I'm perfect. I'm never going to give my power away to perfectionism. That doesn't exist. It's a constant having the awareness every day. It's building the muscle.
My cat is loving this. She wants to be inspired by you all day long, but it is time for me to let you go. So guys, go check Dr. Shelley out on Sushi's at Dr. Shelley. So easy to remember. You know, the Take Your Power Back Challenge is not, there's no end to this. This is something, like Dr. Shelley said, is a lifelong process. We can continue to do this. It's just an idea for you to sort of look at ways for you to, you know, improve your life and make your wellness better for yourself so that you can be a fuller person and not need so much from these external things. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top one more time so everyone can see your profile. And thank you so much again for coming on and talk to me more specifically about your work. And yeah, everyone go check out Dr. Shelley on Sue, and we'll be right back with my friend, that friend.